Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Kettering City Council. Today's date is March 11th, 2025. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your head for a short invocation. Heavenly Father, we gather here today to serve our community with integrity and dedication. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we make decisions that impact the lives of those we represent. Grant us clarity, compassion, and collaboration in our discussions. We are grateful for this opportunity to serve, and we trust in your presence among us. Amen. I'd like to recognize our Miami Valley Communication Council TV operator, Mike Soproni. Mike, thank you for your assistance. Vice Mayor Fisher has an excused absence this evening, and I will ask Mr. Sullivan to approve the minutes.
Your Honor, I have read and reviewed the February 25th, 2025 council meeting and workshop minutes. I find them in order and I move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes. Okay, thank you. We now move on to the appointments and a special presentation for this evening. We do have a proclamation to give, and I am delighted to read this myself. This is from Mr. Neil Smalley. Whereas Neil Smalley is being honored for his dedication and service to the Kettering Parks Foundation, and whereas Neil joined the Kettering Parks Foundation at its inception in 1984 and retired from the board December 31st, 2024 after 40 years. And whereas Neil Smalley faithfully served on the Kettering Parks Foundation as the Kettering Parks Foundation president for nearly 35 years, demonstrating exceptional dedication, professionalism, and skill in his role. And whereas Neil has been the driving force behind countless initiatives that have transformed Kettering's parks, recreation, and cultural spaces into the vibrant community assets we enjoy today. And whereas Neil's unwavering dedication, tireless efforts, and heartfelt commitment to making Kettering a better place for all residents, and whereas under Neil's steadfast leadership, the foundation has successfully championed numerous projects that have enhanced our community's quality of life, including the Reach for the Sky financial assistance program, and more recent achievements such as the renovation of the Rosewood Arts Center, the development of Gentilly Nature Park, creation of the Veterans Plaza, and construction of the Kennedy pickleball courts, to name a few. And whereas the City of Kettering wishes to recognize Neil Smalley for the leadership and commitment to improve the quality of life for all Kettering residents, now therefore I, Peggy Lehner, Mayor of the City of Kettering, Ohio, on behalf of City Council and the community, do hereby proclaim our heartfelt appreciation to Neil Smalley for his outstanding service as Kettering Parks Foundation President, and extend our best wishes for continued success and fulfillment in all future endeavors. And I'm going to come down here and present this to you, Neil. You want to come to the microphone? Millions of dollars that they raised. Here's your proclamation, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can
Honorable Mayor, members of council, I'm humbled that the city would take the time to present this recognition, but I can assure you that it is certainly appreciated. I don't know how many of you knew or remember Charlie Latham, but he was an individual that had a manner about him that it was very difficult to tell him no. And when he asked me to be treasurer of the Kettering Parks Foundation in 1984, the answer was obviously yes. Then in 1990, when his health began to fail, at the January meeting, there were no nominations, there were no elections. Charlie just announced, Smalley, you're going to be president of the Kettering Parks Foundation. And the board members said, yes, Charlie. As I say, that was 30 years ago. I have truly enjoyed this service, and actually being the chairman was the easy job because all I had to do was preside at the meetings and the board members did all of the work. So it's the board members, would all the board members please stand?
Yeah.
These are the folks that really deserve the appreciation and the thanks. But again, on behalf of the board members, I thank you very much for this recognition.
It's a wonderful committee, and I've enjoyed so many of the events I've attended that you've been in charge of, Neil, so thank you. Okay, our next presentation is for Black History Month contest winners. And Gwen, if you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit about the contest, and we're going to hear from, I think we're going to actually see the videos, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the first year that the Kettering Board of Community Relations had a video contest for Black History Month. We wanted to try something new. And what we did was we asked students in Kettering to choose an African American inventor and then tell us about this person, what they did, and why we should all know about this person today. And we also wanted to know if they could ask this person one question, what would it be? We didn't get a lot of entries, but we loved every entry that we received this year. And we were impressed with what the students learned and what they taught us as well. So we're going to show all of the videos today, but I thought I'd real quick run through the list of names before we start the video, and then they're also on the video as well. All these students won gift cards and were celebrated at a reception at the end of February. So in 7th grade, we had Adriana Wilkins. We had a 4th grader, Jane Porter, a 3rd grader, Jackson Wilkins, a 2nd grader, Beckham Arwood, a 1st grader, Kennedy Williams, who is here today, and a kindergartner, Abraham Sykes. And we will show the video now.
Thank you. Sound. We'll get the sound up here and we'll start from the beginning. We don't want to miss a word. Maybe we will.
It was working earlier.
It always is.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's try.
Oh, technology.
Every day at Fairmont High School when I try to play the announcements, this is what happens. I can never get the sound to work, so I know that feeling.
apologies, I'm not sure why this one's not working, but let me see if the other ones are.
No. Tell you what, if you want to play with that for a second, and I would like to make a special presentation to one contestant who came tonight to get this in person, so I'm going to come down and give it to her. This is Kennedy Williams. Kennedy, you want to come down? Come on over here. We'll get a picture taken. Just slide that last one. Okay? All right, here's your caution. You want to say anything, Kennedy? Well, thank you so much for participating. Did you have fun doing it? You did? You going to do it again next year?
When people found out he was black, people didn't want it.
Well, thanks so much for being here. Hopefully we're going to. What do you think?
Yep, let me, give me 1 second here. Let's get her back up and running.
We'll hold it up. There you go.
Hello, my name is Jan Porter, and I've done my Black History project on Kettering Johnson. I read this book about her. Kettering Johnson was a Hi, my name is Kennedy. I go to John F. Kennedy.
Barely
Elementary
here.
School. I'm going to be talking about Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges is a black woman who was the first black girl to go to a white school. Ruby
I think,
Bridges is interesting to me
can you hear?
because she is brave.
I'm sure no one in the audience can hear.
Children are brave and we make a difference.
I think we're not going to be able to overcome the
I think
technical
not.
difficulties. So, Mayor, if it's okay with you, we'll
Proceed.
share them with you separately.
Hopefully, we'll all get a chance to hear it at some point. So we will move on with tonight's business. Once again, thanks to all of the winners and all of the entrants. And we hope to make this a bigger and better event next year with sound. So, all right. You have to go to school tomorrow? They aren't giving you the day off?
Unless we get a mayoral pardon.
No, don't give them. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. We will now move on to public hearings, of which we have none this evening. Public comments on legislation. If anyone wishes to address council tonight with comments or new information about the legislation on tonight's agenda, you may do so at this time. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Speakers must state their name and address, and comments should be addressed to council. If you have comments that are not about the legislation on tonight's agenda, there will be an opportunity for those to be heard later in the meeting. Does anyone wish to address council on the legislation before us tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to reading that legislation. We'll start with ordinances and second reading, and then we'll start with Mr. Sullivan.
All righty. Your Honor, I have an ordinance in second reading adopting amended civil service rules for the city of Kettering. This is requested by the Human Resources Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Jenny, where are you?
Thank you, Your
Jenny
Honor.
Smith.
This ordinance in second reading is to adopt the amended civil service rules for the City of Kettering based on the recommendation of the Civil Service Commission. The bulk of the amendments to the rules are found in the addendum that's been updated to reflect the retitled and newly created positions, as well as the eliminated positions approved in the Personnel Ordinance of December 2024. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions? Okay, calling none. Call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have an ordinance in second reading, and I'll try to read through these numbers really quickly. To amend sections 402.23, 474.06, 432.16, and 452.06 of the codified ordinances regarding the traffic code. This is being requested by the Law Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin.
Thank you, Your Honor. If adopted by council this evening, this ordinance will make certain clarifications to the codified ordinances concerning bicycle safety, right-of-way when turning left, and unattended vehicles, and also bring those sections in line with the Ohio Revised Code. Staff recommends approval. I'd be happy to address your questions.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes. We'll now move to resolutions. First one is, who's got it?
Mr. Scott.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a donation of a Cybex 722A ARC trainer from the Kettering Police Foundations for use by the Kettering Police Department. Technical difficulty again. Estimated cost $2,000 and is requested by the Police Department. I do move for approval.
Second.
Okay, I believe, Mr. Greason, you're going to cover that?
Yes, Your Honor. I think the title that Councilmember Scott read is self-explanatory. This is a piece of exercise equipment donated by the Kettering Police Foundation. We appreciate all the work they do to support the Kettering Police Department. Be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions? Glad you clarified what that was. I had no clue what an ARC trainer was. That's exercise equipment.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
I have a resolution to authorize the city manager to approve and pay the annual assessment for services of the Tactical Crime Suppression Unit, TCSU. The estimated cost is $32,659. This is requested by the police department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. The Tactical Crime Suppression Unit is a function of Miami Valley Communications Council, one of the collaborative efforts that many of the south suburbs of Dayton have undertaken to improve services to our citizens. And certainly TCSU makes all of our communities safer. This is approval to pay the annual assessment for that collaboration with other local governments, and our assessment is estimated to cost $32,659. Be glad to answer any questions that you have, and certainly I recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, call the roll.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to contract with ETEX for the purchase of a concession point-of-sale solution for the phrase pavilion. The estimated cost is $40,000, half of which is budgeted at $20,000. It's requested by the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Arts Department, and I move for its approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution would authorize the city to contract with ETEX, which is our existing service that we use to manage ticket sales, to implement a point-of-sale software solution along with the necessary hardware and accessories. This is an item that came out of the business operational and organization assessment that was completed last year by Theater Projects. It was one of the highest recommendations that came out of that study. We would like to move forward with the purchase and be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to use competitive bargaining and negotiated quotes to contract for lighting equipment for the Fraze Pavilion. The estimated cost and the amount budgeted is $185,000. This is requested by the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department. I move for approval.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution will allow the city to use competitive bargaining, negotiated quotes in order to contract with a vendor to provide lighting equipment in support of various concerts and events at the Fraze Pavilion for the upcoming season this summer. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
I have a resolution supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial called America 250-Ohio, OH, not Ohio. And this is being requested by Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department. There's no associated cost, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you, Your Honor. We can all
I
learn-
want to hear you say that.
We can all
word,
learn
too.
a new word tonight, semi-quincentennial, which is a fancy word to say that America is going to be 250 years old in 2026. So the city would like to apply to become an official America 250 community, which will open us up to opportunities to help celebrate this rather momentous anniversary coming up here in 2026. What this designation would do for us, it would provide opportunities for us to network, partner, and exchange information with the larger state commission team that is being put together to celebrate this anniversary. We would receive regular access to digital toolkits, online community platforms, check in with other designated anniversary committees, and also recognition of participation in various celebrations and commemorations. So we would like to be an active participant in this anniversary. It only comes around every 250 years, so probably ought to participate. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? And you have to say the word in your question. No volunteers. Call the roll.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a 60-month contract renewal with Inside Public Sector, Inc. for phone system services. Estimated cost, $115,363.21. The amount budgeted is $24,600. Is requested by Administrative Systems Department. I do move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not nearly as exciting as the semi-quincentennial of the United States. There you go. This is to lock in a long-term contract renewal with our phone system provider. So Cisco, it's the larger organization that we use for phone technology. They've recently announced significant price increases for renewals that will take effect later this month. So by entering into this resolution tonight will allow us to enter into a early prorated agreement in order to lock in the current pricing that we have for the next 60 months. So we strongly recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay. Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
I have a resolution reappointing Peggy Lehner as trustee of the Kettering Development Corporation. This is requested by the city manager's office, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. The mission of the Kettering Development Corporation is to support and improve the community's future through redevelopment of commercial and residential properties in the city of Kettering. Our Mayor, Peggy Lehner, is a city trustee on the Kettering Development Corporation whose term has expired, and this resolution recommends reappointment to a term ending December 31st, 2025, or if she agrees on it, when the quincentennial occurs. No, I'm joking. December.
You forgot the semi.
December 31st, 2025. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Do we have any questions? Okay, call the roll.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
I think I'll abstain. Okay.
Your Honor, I have a resolution to amend Resolution 9397-13 regarding expenditures of future capital improvement funds. This was requested by the Finance Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. This is part of implementing your adopted budget strategy. November of 2013, the city received $40 million as part of an estate tax settlement. This occurred at the same time that the Ohio General Assembly abolished the estate tax, which was effective in 2013. Previously, the city received an average of $3 million in estate tax revenue each year, and those dollars were used to pay for capital improvements. So when the state abolished the estate tax, essentially we lost $3 million. And we were blessed to receive this influx of $40 million as a result of an individual's estate. The City Council, when that occurred, passed Resolution 9397-13, directing the Finance Director to commit the $40 million to capital improvements and spend the funds consistent with past practice of at a rate of $3 million a year until the $40 million plus any accrued interest was exhausted. You may recall this past fall, as part of the 2025 budget process, we recommended adjusting the annual commitment of the funds from $3 million to $2,500,000 to pay for capital improvements. The intent of that was to extend the life of those funds and reduce our reliance on what is now a diminishing revenue stream. This resolution helps amends the prior resolution from 2013, implement what we think is a prudent financial practice. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions? Call the roll.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Kettering, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. The estimated cost is $2,763,393.69 in net transfers. The amount budgeted is $0, and this is requested by the Finance Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. There's a number of things that are happening here, and so bear with me. Quite a few supplemental appropriation items for various grants and projects being carried over from 2024 to 2025. The requests do not represent new spending, but are to move appropriations from one fiscal year to the next. So in the grant carryover area, we have special grants and program funds, law enforcement grants, the DUI task force grant, the police training grant. Those total $20,842. In the special grants and programs fund, other grants, there's a number of important grants that are being carried over to funds from 24 to 25 so that we can implement the projects. Sensory grants, a phrase handicap grant, the Kettering Parks Foundation, 2 low-income grant programs there, the Latham grant for improvements at the Latham Center, a handicap needs grant, Parkinson's grant, a Lead Safe Ohio grant, that's the largest one at $658,788, and a probation grant. Those in total are $830,134. Additionally, in the CDBG fund, there is $1 million. As we've discussed with you previously, we often have to carry over prior year funds to implement our CDBG program. In the capital improvement fund area, there is state capital funding for improvements to Building 46, as well as a Rosewood Art Center furniture, fixture, and equipment grant. The grand total in grant carryovers, I believe as was stated, is $2,069,799. In the Planning and Development Department, there is a supplemental appropriation of $19,234 to carry over unspent balance for the First-Time Homebuyers Assistance Program and the Home Improvement Assistance Program. The total program budget was $1 million. We've spent approximately $980,000 since 2022. The remaining $19,000 must be appropriated in 2025 so that we can complete program spending. In the economic development grant area, there's a supplemental appropriation to carry over funding of $150,000. This is you authorized receiving a Montgomery County Edge grant to support Starwin Industries expansion. That is a company located at 3387 Woodman Drive. The grant expenditure is a pass-through for Montgomery County, has no impact on the city's operating margin. The local match for the grant will be through our Kettering incentive program. That is valued at $50,000. That will be budgeted and paid for in future grant incentive years. We're also carrying over funds from the cemetery fund. You appropriated $24,400, which is the balance of the Beavertown Cemetery storage building. We need that carried over into 2025. The original budget was $119,000. Design, architectural, and construction costs totaling $94,600 have been spent or encumbered, and the $24,400 is the remaining balance that we need for contingencies, mostly on the construction. In the capital improvement fund, there's $28,500 to complete Gentilly Park signage being carried over from 24 to fiscal year 2025. This is the interpretive signage that will complete that park project and help tell the story of Mr. Gentilly. In the capital improvements fund, we're carrying over, recommending a supplemental appropriation to carry over budgeted funds for the Pond View path improvements. The total budget was $200,000. Design costs totaling $20,900 were encumbered in 2024. The remaining $179,100 balance will be for construction in 2025. Additionally, earlier this evening, we talked about a supplemental appropriation of $90,764 for a 60-month renewal contract for Cisco Collaboration Flex Services, which is for the phone system, which essentially commit the 5 years of funds for that system and help us avoid cost escalations. We need to appropriate the funds for the $2,000 donation of the exercise equipment, the Cybex Arc Trainer elliptical machine, which is the donation from the Kettering Police Foundation. We need a supplemental appropriation of $10,323 for the Community Development Block Grant Fund. This is the Neighborhood Stabilization Program and Home Revolving Loan Funds. This is program income that was generated in 2024. And these amounts must be appropriated for use in 2025. So typically, we'll get program income when we have loan repayments. Lastly, well, not lastly, two more things. In our special grants and program, there's some environmental assessment activities. We need to do a supplemental appropriation of $171,858. This is the acceptance of a brownfield remediation grant from ODOD, the Ohio Department of Development, to spell out the acronym. Those grant funds will be used to help pay for the cost of environmental site assessment at Cheer Hot Cleaners property at 2569 Patterson Road. And we also need a supplemental appropriation of $17,414 from the Monsanto PCB Settlement Fund. Likely, that will also be used to assist in environmental remediation. That was a lot. It's early in the year. We're trying to carry over the 2024 funds to 2025 so we can get the public's work done. Be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes. The next three ordinances are in first reading, and who's starting?
Debbie, Mrs. Hall.
Your Honor, I have an ordinance to amend the Prue Woods Development Plan requested by City Manager's Office.
Let's hear a little bit more about that from Mr. Chadowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. On June 23rd, 2015, the city passed ordinance 4254, thereby creating a residential tax increment financing incentive district for the Prue Woods subdivision. This particular this particular modification is one of the first steps to extend that TIF district for an additional 20 years. This particular legislation that is presented before council for consideration is an amendment to the development plan, and that development plan allows dollars generated within the TIF district to be spent on specific items. In this particular instance, this will include expenses associated with Dorothy Lane, Prue Woods Drive, as well as the Kettering Recreation Complex. Happy to answer any questions or concerns that council may have.
Anyone have any questions? Okay. Next ordinance.
Your Honor, I have an ordinance to amend the text of various sections of the City of Kettering zoning code. This is in first reading and is requested by Planning and Development Department.
Mr. Chadowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. This particular legislation is brought forth to address what we commonly refer to as pre-existing nonconformities as they relate to front yards and side yard setbacks. Many of our buildings here in the community were built prior to the current zoning standards as it relates to how those buildings need to be constructed in relation to property lines. This particular amendment that's being proposed for council adoption would allow those buildings that currently exist and do not meet current standards to continue to exist and not meet standards in the future, so that buildings that are in structurally healthy condition can be reutilized and advanced into the future with new amenities, thereby precluding the need to demolish structures that are otherwise usable and facilitate further development. Happy to answer any questions council may have on this particular item.
Anyone have any questions? Okay. First reading.
I have an ordinance to levy special assessments for the construction and repair of curbs, sidewalks, drive approaches, and related appurtenances for the 2024 Curb, Sidewalk, and Drive Approach Program, City Project Number 05-124. This is requested by the Engineering Department and is in first reading.
Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you, Your Honor. This ordinance in first reading this evening would levy assessments for the 2024 curb, sidewalk, and driver approach repair program. We have submitted the list of final assessments with the Clerk of Council. We have completed the public notice requirement, and the 14-day objection period has not passed. There are no objections. The period to pay cash will be until August of this year. Any assessments not paid in cash by then will be sent to the county auditor for collection beginning in January of America's semi-quincentennial anniversary year, commonly known as 2026. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
The chart details like the payment structure if it is assessed and it's based on pretty low dollar amounts. What's an average assessment for a homeowner look like?
$5,000 to $6,000.
Okay.
Paid off over 10 years for that amount.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, that concludes our legislation for this evening. Mrs. Hayslip, do we have any certifications or petitions this evening?
Your Honor, we do not have any certifications or petitions this evening.
Okay, thank you. I will call on the city manager for his report and community update.
Yes, Your Honor. I wanted to once again remind you that Kettering's Board of Community Relations encouraged you to learn more about women's history this month and anytime, because Kettering is home to all of us, and the Community Relations Commission has, Board of Community Relations, I should say, has offered some resources where you can learn more, and those are available on the screen. We also want to once again highlight the technical assistance, networking, and funding that we are providing through the Micro Enterprise Assistance Program. The spring 2025 Micro Enterprise Basic course starts in April. Information regarding those courses is on the screen, and you can certainly learn more about our successful Micro Enterprise Assistance Program by contacting our staff. It is time for the 2024 City of Kettering income taxes, your returns to be filed. Please do so by April 15th. Tax forms will not be mailed to you. You should have received an income tax postcard. Forms are available on our website, or you may utilize our new e-filing system, or certainly residents can stop by our office and get assistance from our exceptional income tax staff. We encourage people to file and avoid late filing fees, and returns must be received in our office or postmarked by April 15th. There's more information available on the screen, but once again, if you have any questions, please, we encourage residents to contact our income tax staff. We want to highlight that our award-winning Tree Fest is Saturday, April 19th, from 9 a.m. to noon at Gentilly Nature Park. And the next slide is Tree Love, our celebration of trees and craft beer, which is Saturday, April 19th at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's in partnership with Eudora Brewing Company. Mr. Shearhart, do you want to add anything? But I believe that both of these programs won a recent award at the state conference.
That's very true. These were award-winning programs at the Ohio Parks and Recreation Association Conference. As a lover of craft beer and trees, it sounds like a perfect opportunity for the residents to get out and support the wonderful things happening here in the department.
Thank you, sir. Next slide. Another partnership as a public service of Montgomery County, Miami Township, Centerville, Dayton, and Kettering. Rain barrels are being offered as well as compost bin programs. For a limited time, while supplies last, residents can purchase discounted rain barrels, $76, and compost bins for $68. This is part of all of these local governments collaborating together to advance sustainability in our county. Lastly, Kettering Leadership Academy is currently accepting applications for the second to best class, 2025 and 2026. The Kettering Leadership Academy, as you know, is our
unique program, and it's an opportunity to learn all about the city of Kettering. Applications are going to be accepted through June 3rd, and many of us can answer questions about the Kettering Leadership Academy, but certainly you can call the number on the screen and talk to our staff about this wonderful opportunity. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. At this point, if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address council on an issue other than the legislative ones we heard from earlier, this is your opportunity to do so. If you wish to address council, please come down and state your name and your address, and you have 5 minutes to tell us whatever you want to tell us. Does anyone want to address council this evening? Okay, seeing none, you lost your chance. We'll now move on to council reports.
All right, I wanted to report on an upcoming event for Kettering City Schools. So there's a Kettering City Schools Future Ready Facilities Steering Committee, and they invite all of you and everyone in here to a community forum event that will be held next week on March 20th from 6 to 8 in the recital hall at Fairmont High School. At this event, information will be provided to the community about the future ready facilities needs of the district, the impact of a partnership with the OFCC to co-fund a major part of the district-wide facilities construction and renovation project, a draft conceptual plan for the first phase of the Kettering City Schools Facilities Improvement Project, and an opportunity to ask questions about the entire future ready facilities planning process. So I invite all of you, that is next Thursday, March 20th, from 6 to 8 in the recital hall at Fairmont High School, and there will be refreshments if that interests you anymore. So that's it for me.
Thanks, Jane.
Just one thing for me as well. I met with Partners for Healthy Youth before this, and they do really great at planning their summer food program way ahead of time. And there's 9 weeks where people can volunteer, and because there's not food available for school lunches during the summer, the city and the school partners together to provide food option in 2 different locations in the city. And every single week is full already with volunteers. So 9 weeks of people volunteering to provide kids lunch 5 days a week, and just really speaks to the amazing spirit of volunteerism we have here in Kettering, and makes me really proud. And the city of Kettering is one of those volunteers 1 week, so really commend the city for that as well. Good job, guys.
Okay. Thank you,
That's
Joe.
it for me.
I'm one of the city's representatives to the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, along with Mr. Sudduth, and we had a meeting today. It was a web meeting, and it just kind of got me thinking that a lot of people probably in Kettering don't even know we're part of this group. And just a few facts and figures for folks. There's 70 government entities that belong to this, from tiny villages in Darke County to the city of Dayton and Kettering, who's the second largest by population member. And it covers Montgomery, Greene, Miami, Shelby, Darke, Preble counties, and parts of Warren counties. And it's responsible for, transportation planning, community planning, and many of the things that go on behind the scenes. And I would encourage people to go to their website and just talk it up, because it is a resource for the entire region. And this is the last time I'll mention this, but our Optimus TriStar basketball event was held last evening at Trent Arena. We had good attendance. It was not a record, but we did have good attendance. A lot of kids had fun. Trophies handed out, T-shirts handed out, basketballs handed out, and our own city manager, Matt Greason, assisted with special left-handed children with his particular left-handed skills.
I have no real update tonight. I was sitting here trying to find a way to work in semi-quincentennial to anything I would say, and I couldn't do it, so nothing from me.
To echo Bob's comment on the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, we just elected the new executive board at the board meeting earlier this week, and as the alternate delegate, get to be a part of that process. And it is something that is a regional, it's a regional asset that's being looked at by certain legislators to abolish. And this is the organization that advocates on behalf of cities for transportation dollars, planning dollars, and federal pass-through dollars that allow us to do things like update bridges, roads, bike paths, walk paths. So there is legislation that's been proposed to abolish that and to change the way that's funded. And it's a very important organization, and I encourage fellow council members, I'll forward you the details from the board meeting this week about that and how to lobby our legislators to defend the work that MVRPC does and other regional planning organizations throughout the state. So it's one of 5 in Ohio, and as Bob discussed, it's our entire region, and it's an important group of people doing a lot of important work. I had the opportunity this week to piggyback to Jill's comments, to volunteer at the Feeding Friends food pantry here in Kettering, and it's a pretty neat pantry that's supported by 3 different churches, including St. Charles, My Church Fairhaven, as well as Harmony Creek, 3 distinctly different congregations all coming together to feed neighbors in our community, and it borders Washington Township and Centerville as well. But it was a reminder that food insecurity is real even here in Kettering, and they deliver food. I have delivered food picked up every week for 150 families, and that number spiked at the beginning of COVID and has just remained over these last 5 years. And it was just a reminder of the importance of cooperation by faith groups to support our community, as well as just a partnership with the Dayton Food Bank, Inc., that is the primary supplier to this outside these 3 organizations. And just a really eye-opening experience to be a part of that work last weekend. Also had the opportunity this week to attend the Dayton Chamber's annual meeting and hear from our former NATO ambassador, Kay Bailey Hutchins from Texas, with Kai from the Economic Development Team, and just to see the work the Dayton Chamber is doing. You may not know this, but Kettering doesn't have a Chamber of Commerce anymore, and the Dayton Chamber has committed Chris and his team to fill that void for businesses in our community, and they are available for all those resources that the Dayton Chamber provides. It extends beyond the city. They're a regional asset, and I know many of our businesses in Kettering have come to rely on the work the Dayton Chamber does. And our city's now a member again after a hiatus for a number of years. And it was really just a good opportunity to represent the city this week at the annual meeting. The final bit, I have, for 25 years, been an April 15 tax filer in this city. I like to be there with the crowds on April 15th. It's very festive. The staff is great. There's donuts and there's candy, and it's lively when we get in line at 7:30 for the doors to open at 8. This year, I've already filed my taxes. Thanks to the new e-filing system. I would encourage everybody to give it a try. It's very easy. It's a couple uploads. My taxes were done from the comfort of my dining room table last night without coming to the office on the 15th. I still may come by for the excitement of it on the 15th, but the taxes are done at a record pace for my household. The e-filing system is excellent. It's a great tool, and it really moved what is a very friendly system in our city already to something really technologically up to date with 2024, ahead of the semi-cinquentennial. Well, I can't say it, so.
Semi-quincentennial.
Do not wait till April 15th. Use the tool at your hands. It's easy and very intuitive, and will save you some time. That's all I've got.
Thank you all very much for those reports. This year, like every year, I get the pleasure of meeting with all of the 3rd graders from Southdale School. It's 5 full classrooms to do a mock city council meeting. Now, these are 3rd graders. So what I like to do every year is to share with you some of their ideas. We had an earlier report about the comprehensive plan process and how it's coming along, and they were getting ideas from the business community, et cetera, et cetera. And I can tell you these kids match the wishes and the desires. I'm just going to read you a few of these. Humor me for a minute. If it gets too long, I'll try to cut it off. Dear Mayor Lehner and Police Department, now they come and they meet with me for half an hour, and then they go to the police department, and then we switch groups. So it's kind of a big deal. Dear City Council, I thank you for taking the time to let our class come to the City Council. We learned so much and we had fun. Thank you for letting us all tell you about our class ideas for broken stuff and stuff that is too small. And that is not a lot like there's not enough playground and stuff that people could get hurt on and stuff that is not safe. Please tell the 911 dispatch center that we are thankful for them taking their time. And please share that. Sincerely, your citizen, Hudson. My name is Charlie. There's an issue I would like to discuss with you. I think that there should be more sidewalks. I think that because on my street there isn't one. And if there was, then my mom would let me bike on it. But if there wasn't, then the summer would be boring. Other moms would probably let them do the same. These are some reasons why I think that there should be more sidewalks. Dear City Council, my name is David. This is a good one. I have a proposal that I would like to share with you that would improve our community. I think my main road doesn't have enough cat's eyes to tell the lane you're in at night. Explanation. There are little metal reflectors on the road that reflect red if you're in the wrong lane. They reflect green if you're in the right lane. And that's where they get their name from, real cat eyes. Ain't that cool? Do we have cat eyes? Very cool. Okay. All right. Thank you for letting us meet you. The room was so big. Learning about all the people and what they do was so much fun. Having a pretend council meeting was fun. I hope to get to see you again. Love, Elijah. Dear Mayor Lehner and the Kettering Police Department, to Mayor Lehner, thank you for letting us sit in the chairs. It was so fun. I liked to be the city manager. Okay. Let's see, just a couple more here. Thank you for so much. I read this before, I could make it out, but now for the life of me I can't. For the field trip on Monday, that was it. It was fun to help you solve the problems. You are the best mayor I ever met. Had to read that one. Okay. One more. I liked sitting in the council chairs. I learned that if the mayor gets sick, the vice mayor would become mayor. That was for Jackie, and she wasn't here tonight. Okay, here's my favorite. I learned that police really do love donuts. That's it. That's the takeaway. So anyway, they are delightful, and you know, their little minds. You think it's just kind of incredible what comes out. But the real value of that program, and we've been doing it for years, is the kids get exposed to city government and what it entails and all the different roles. They all get to sit in these seats and play, and sometimes it's really quite exciting. So, and they go on, hopefully, in their lives, and I've heard this from teenagers. I'm really interested in this because of what I did at Southdale. So, awesome program. All the schools should do it. Thanks, kids, for being so great. And with that, this meeting is come to an end. Our next meeting is March 25th, and we hope to see you then.